Okay, it is Wednesday morning and we're joined by Gabriel McSharry, a medical herbalist and nutritionist in studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Margaret.
How are you?
Very good now.
Good. Now, this morning, of course, firstly, listeners can send in their questions to 083 3500 530, which is text, and calls at 0818 365 500. But this morning we're going to be talking about sleep and how people cannot, maybe have restless nights and they can't get to sleep.
Yeah, so some people, they've erratic sleep. There's the end stage, I guess, or a chronic state is called insomnia, and that's where they find it hard to get any sleep. But generally, the average person can, at periods of time, experience disturbed sleep, and a lot of people ask me, what can be done and so on. There's some general tips. First off, one should sleep in complete darkness or as close as possible. So even if there's a tiniest bit of light in the room, it can disturb your what they call circadian rhythm. And you've this gland in the body. It's kind of complex on a biochemistry level, but the pineal gland produces two hormones, melatonin and serotonin. And these are really important for sleep, for good quality, consistent sleep. There should only be, as little light as possible. And they did some really good research in sleep labs on this, where even the small LEDs from a TV or a mobile phone or an alarm clock, a small little light can disrupt these two hormones, which
so even your alarm clock.
Yeah. So instead of having they're called LEDs, but the electric ones that kind of have shiny light, don't have one of them and have something that you can't see. So really, the recommendation is to sleep where you can't. If you held your hand up in front of your face, you can't see it. That now is the recommendation, where so you should be as dark as possible. So obviously, if you've on-street lighting, you get things like blackout blinds, or as I say, electronic equipment. The amount of stuff now in some bedrooms, like TVs and mobile phones charging and stuff. And as I say, they've done a good bit of research on this, and they can affect these hormones. So I guess the circadian rhythm is day and night, light, dark, and it's kind of getting back to kind of nature's natural cycle. But the basic recommendation would be during the day get as much natural light as possible and sunlight. Expose yourself to as much natural light as possible, and then during the night, like if you expose yourself to as much natural light as possible, you're going to be producing serotonin. And then during the night, if you're in as much darkness as possible, you're producing loads of melatonin. And that's the way it should work. And if there's any disruption to that, you don't either produce enough serotonin or enough melatonin. So if during the day you're indoors all the time under artificial light, like many of us are in offices and so on, it's really important to try and get out for your breaks and for lunchtime and expose yourself to natural light and sun if it's there. The same during the night. It's important to eradicate all light from your bedroom, and also the bathroom, the ensuite maybe. So if you get up and urinate in the middle of the night, it's important not to turn on the light, because then that straight away flips a switch and you stop producing melatonin. If you can kind of make your way around in the dark, that'll be better. However, don't fall down the stairs or whatever, So that's a general recommendation, and as I said, I've done a lot of research on that, so much so that it's not just it gets in through the eyelids. They did research where they shone a light at the back of people's knees when they were sleeping, and that affected the production of melatonin. So, some people more than others can be more sensitive to light, but it's just something some people don't think about. Other things, you know, if you're trouble sleeping, listen to soft music or relaxing music, sounds of nature, stuff like that. People have found that very helpful. I'd avoid before bed snacks, especially grains and sugar. This will raise blood sugar levels and inhibit sleep. And later, sometimes the blood sugar drops so low, or hypoglycemia, you may wake up and not be able to get back to sleep. So that's can affect a lot of people, but definitely people who are pre-diabetic or diabetic. A recommendation on TV: no TV right before bed. Even better, get the TV out of the bedroom. The bedroom should be kept for sleep, if at all possible. So some people watch TV in bed, some people work on a laptop or do some work before bed, and that it's not recommended. You know, really for an hour or so before bed, you should really wind down the mind, you know, and the TV can be too stimulating to the brain, and it'll take longer to fall asleep.
But some people, even for, I think, medical reasons, that wouldn't have a TV in the room. They just don't like.
Yeah, well, they're
they're
the EMFs. I come to them.
Oh, you want to come to them? Okay.
Electromagnetic frequency. Well, I'll address it now. There's electromagnetic frequency, and it's what we call invisible smog or electro smog, and obviously these days it's more prominent than decades gone by, we'll say. So if you just think about the amount of electronic equipment we have in the bedroom or in the house in general, so mobile phone, like, you should really turn that off when you sleep, unless you're a doctor on call or an emergency service. But really it should be off.
This idea, you know, of people with their mobile phone beside their pillow or on their locker, and they have it on all the time or charging all the time. Like,
if you look into the electronics of it, the mobile phone handshakes with the base station, with the network, which is miles away. Some phones every 15 seconds. So it's sending out a signal and it's receiving a signal. But this is going on, and it really is through the body, and you know, there's more and more science now pointing that this isn't good for the cells. You know, it affects our DNA and so on. But right, okay, maybe it might be a big ask to say get rid of your mobile phone altogether, but definitely at night time, you know, when you're not using it, turn it off. And if you use it for an alarm, most of them now will turn itself on and the alarm goes off. You don't need to leave it on. So really, that should be off. Broadband, if you have wireless broadband, which a lot of people have now, and they have it plugged in and just leave it plugged in all the time, knock that off at night. Again, it's sending out quite a strong signal to a laptop or whatever, and there's nothing on and there's nothing receiving it. So it's radiating through your body and you know, through your neighbours as well. Like, it has quite a large span. Other things like cordless phones also emit a signal. So this is all electro-smog, and again, some people don't even know it's there. Other people are very sensitive to it, and it can create a lot of health problems and disturb sleep a lot. And children, you know, and kids and small babies and that, they're more sensitive to this electro-smog. So I suppose coming back to the TV, they do emit these things as well, and hi-fi stereos, anything where the voltage has to be stepped down before it goes into the appliance. There's this EMF field created, electromagnetic frequency. So it's something to be aware of, and it's as I say, you can't see it. So
because people wouldn't necessarily think of that. I mean, there's some people who cannot live unless their mobile phone's in their hand or somewhere near them, and it's the same. Like, they have to have their phone around them all the time, and I suppose the same for all the electronic equipment of the day that they can have around them, all the better. It's not good.
No, definitely, especially when you're asleep. You know, when you're asleep, the body repairs itself, and you know, if you look into what happens in the anatomy when you sleep, your body goes into a state of paralysis, except the autonomic nervous system, except your lungs and your brain and your heart, they keep the system going, we'll say. But everything that you use for digestion and for muscles, you don't use these systems. Well, you shouldn't. That's why you shouldn't eat a lot before you go to bed. Really, your digestion should shut down and your muscles should shut down, and all the enzymes and cofactors and processes you use to fuel them during the day, they stop, and then they go to other organs and do repair work and so on. So it's very important to get to that stage, and that's at the highest quality of sleep. So there's different stages, and again they measure it through brainwave activity, and I forget the exact names of the stages, but it's something like this: that alpha sleep is where, there's 4 stages. Alpha sleep is where you're kind of dozed off and sleepy, yet you're aware of the environment. So
this kind of would it be when you doze off in the chair, maybe?
Yeah, you can still kind of hear what's going on, but you're not really too bothered. And then there's beta sleep, where you're kind of out and you're non-responsive to stimuli or sound or whatever. And then there's REM, and this is where we dream, and this is an important state to get to. And then the deepest form of sleep is theta sleep, theta brainwave frequency, and it's where, as I was saying, we go into paralysis, and the body does a lot of repair physically, but also the mind repairs. So the mind, like a computer, I guess, it takes things that it sees as irrelevant and kind of deletes them, and then it stores short-term memory into long-term memory, and so on. The body repairs things like, we all tear little muscles and stuff throughout the day, and that's normal. It's normal to strain muscles and stuff from physical activity, we say, but you repair them during sleep. So that's why it's very important to have consistent, good quality sleep all the time, because we're constantly straining ourselves, but we're constantly repairing ourselves as well, unless you're not getting adequate sleep, and then therefore you're losing a good repair phase, and hence we'll age a lot faster. Other recommendations would be wearing socks. Actually, is one that if you have poor circulation and you have cold feet, some people find it hard to sleep with cold feet. I know a hot water bottle is great, but if you wear socks, you could get around that, and that's that might stop people waking up as well. Reading is good. People find it relaxing. Some people, however, get stimulated if they read a mystery or suspense novel. So look out for that. And if it's something that you can't kind of turn off from, then maybe it's not the best stuff to be reading late at night. Maybe something more spiritual or religious or something. It'd probably be better. The hormones I mentioned, melatonin, serotonin, these are precursors, dietary precursors. So, the raw materials in the diet that we use to produce these, and tryptophan is the main one, or 5-hydroxytryptophan, and we get this is high in turkey or dark meats or eggs, because they have these amino acids, L-tryptophan, in them. So something like that, if one is to have supper or something after tea, something like that, a boiled egg is something that probably be a better snack later in the evening than anything else. And again, you'll have these this protein, L-tryptophan, which is a precursor to serotonin. Probably get to bed as early as possible too. We tend to stay up. Well, our sleep time tends to be dictated by the TV sometimes these days, but our system, particularly our adrenal glands, do the majority of the recharging or recovering during the hours of 11 to 1.